my relationship's been like that with myself since day one, you know.
Yeah, it's what's surfacing now is what, you know, the ego is, and you're just seeing it maybe more fully for the, you know, the first time, and it's not pretty, is it? It's horrible. But by becoming aware of it, you can let it go. So it's a necessary process to go through the challenges, the temptations, ultimately the dark night of the soul, where I mean, you can feel like you're dying. You can just go, I'm freaking out here. I'm not coping. My head's going to explode. I know exactly what you're talking about because I've been through it. But on the other side, there's you know, peace. There's a lot of peace, and there's a lot of guidance and a lot of fulfillment if you're just willing to, you know, to go through it. I really didn't feel safe. It wasn't so much that I felt someone else was going to attack me. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel like I was safe around other people, that I might just explode and do something I didn't want to do, because it was like all this anger and rage boiling up inside me. And you know, you're with other people, and it was intense. I was like, my God, am I going crazy? I don't trust myself anymore. It didn't last forever, but you know, for a couple of years, it was
couple of years.
Yeah, it was a process of working through it, of really, and it was intense, and it was difficult.
I just said, Johnny, I don't feel safe. I know exactly what you've just said, but when you said, I thought, oh gosh, I can, yeah. And then you says a couple of years. Oh
well,
my
that's
gosh.
not a lot of time. That's not a lot of time in the grand scheme of things to, you know, to process. And I got through it. I'm here, and I'm now on the other side of it, and you know, I'm hopefully able to help people through this journey, because I've been through it. But it was very tough. It was a difficult time, and I just gritted. You know what? I just went, okay, you know what? I've just got to dig deep, and I've got to get through this, and I've got to apply this teaching of A Course in Miracles, because this is what's going to save me. This is what will get me through it. And so, you know, it's a call to go deeper. And as part of that call, I started developing the art of letting go course, and it was a course to start with, and then the program, because it's like, I need to go deeper into this. I need this to reach deeply into this truth, this life essence that the quote in today's lesson talks about, and draw on it, you know, and that's what's going to sustain me, and that's what's going to get me through. And that's the whole point. In the challenge, you have to go somewhere for help and guidance, and so you go within, and you find it there, and then you strengthen your connection with that, and that's how the ego is ultimately undone. But I'm not gonna deny that it's extremely challenging. It's really tough.
I think listening to you both, I think I can tell when I've spoken to you both that you are thinking to yourself, are you actually letting go, or you're just holding on to it? But the way I'm speaking is like, I'm afraid to let go of it, so I'll hold it on and bring it back again, and you're resisting it. I just think by the way that I'm just coming across, it probably does feel like that child who didn't have nowhere to go, and you're like just spewing it out the best way you can to let yourself know that you're safe. Because we know, because the only way I've been getting through it is by just reminding myself, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my emotion, I'm just pure awareness. But staying in that when you're going through it, which I have done at times, it's just that, you know, it's that relief that you get for a minute or second, until it's, because it's like high alert. It is like that, you know. But I think safe is a big thing. Feeling safe. It's got to have been an unmet need, but it's not even that now, because you know you traveled through that, if that makes sense. you're just going back to a time. Don't even know if you're going back to time, because now is all that matters. And this is just coming up as a discussion for us, just to say it as it is. But I think this feeling of unsafety that gets me into this overwhelm, this anxiety that I've never, ever experienced before. It's like, whoa, you know, I know I'm being triggered, but it's being triggered on the inside, not outside.
Well, that's good, you see. So what you're seeing is it's all internal. It's not really got nothing to do with the world. It's actually in your own mind. And so the most trivial things trigger you, and you go, well, that's ridiculous. How can that be? So you're starting to see that it's not the outside world. That's the problem. The problem is in your mind, which is where the solution lies too. So as you said, what you've got to do is go to the pure formless awareness that underlies all of this mental and emotional and turbulation, because that's where your safety lies. And the lessons are there just to keep reminding, go there, just go there. It's just a pointer to go there. Okay, go there again, and go there again, and go there every hour, and try and stay there. And if you find yourself moving out of it, then go there again, and go there again. And it's just persistence. This isn't not rocket science. It's just persistent application of the idea and the discipline to do it consistently. That's what's going to get you through. So, I'd say you want to take your spiritual practice to another level to help you get through this. Do you practice every hour? Practice it every hour. Make it like, okay, I'm going to do this every hour for a minute. Do a breath break. I'm giving you 3, 4, 5 minutes every hour. Do the breath break every hour. Why not? What else are you going to do with your time? This is the best way of moving through this. Doing it this way, it's taking some time, but it's saving you a huge amount of time. Because, you don't want to be stuck in this anxiety for years. It's a horrible place to be. So you want to move through this as quickly as possible. And the spiritual practice is what's going to help you do that. So meditation on the lesson, breath breaks. And I'd really advise join the calls, because there's something that happens in here that you can't really do on your own. Because you're with other people and your issues come up, and like now we're discussing it, and it helps you process it on a deeper level, I think. So the more you do, the more you do it. They're happening every day, and we've been saying, well, why is only one person joining? Well, 2. I'm joining, but I have to join. I'm the host. Only Sally's really joining consistently. Why is that? Well, it's because it's an amazing opportunity every day to go and do, work with your stuff and really accelerate your journey and collapse it. So, they're happening. Just make the time. If you're not working full time, are you? Make the time. Say, okay, well, what's stopping me from coming on at 12:30 every day? Even if it's just for half an hour, an hour.
It's the ego, isn't it? The ego says, oh, no, I've got time. No, I'll do it tomorrow. No, I won't come on. For me, it was the lack of safety thing. I just kept reminding myself that's the ego. It's not true. Safety and security was a big deal for me. Well, my story it was from childhood, and I couldn't find a safe place. But you can't in ego, can you? Because if you're in a separated body, it doesn't feel safe. It just doesn't. So just recognizing if I'm in the past or the future, or if I'm reactive, or I'm avoiding something, or controlling, or criticizing, I'm in the ego. Just recognizing what ego was, because I didn't know what it was until we came on here properly.
That's a very good point, Sally. That's just come to me when you were saying that. I need to start asking myself those questions, not be afraid. And it feels like I've gone back to a child and been so scared that I don't even trust myself. But when you were saying that, it just came to me that I've got to ask myself, am I in the now? Is this trauma? Just as,
Because if we're living in the ego, which is one child, we're being operated by somebody that's 7 or 8 years old or less. And we don't want our decisions made by some youngster that's traumatized and upset. And that's actually what happens, isn't it? And we bury that voice of the child, or this imaginary child of us, but we're driven by it. And we do all the spiritual bypassing to avoid the pain. But ultimately, now it's coming up to the surface, and we can see it and look it in the eyes and go, I'm in blame. I'm in the future. I'm in the past. I'm condemning. I'm in the drama game. Oh, that's not me. That's not me. The little girl that's traumatized is not me. That was a story I made up. I think, I know it's annoying, Susie, to say you're in a good place, but just because it took Jono 2 years doesn't mean it'll take you 2 years.
No, I think really and honestly, if there's so much that's come up, you know, even when I'm speaking to somebody in the street or something, and I do have great conversations, but I know it's all around us as well. And I know people are feeling this and not even talking about it anyway. So I know that. I just think, like Jono said, it's been a long time coming. It's like you've had these hints, you've had these glitches, but you probably chose to avoid it or whatever. And now it's just coming and saying, this is all the stuff that you avoided. You need to get this. Do you know what I mean? It does feel like that soon. I mean, it does feel like that. But God, and I do, even speaking to you guys, isn't it amazing that you can want to laugh, cry and scream. And you know, we've lived in such a false society where they tell you to sugarcoat it all and be positive all day, and it's fake. Where this is the best way to live because we're experiencing it all, not just the good, the bad, the ugly. There ain't no good or bad. It's an experience that has come up to be experienced. So I'm getting that, but I just think sometimes there is a younger mind that's trying to catch up with what I'm trying to say or trying to do, and it just screws me over. But I'll remember Jono's smile next time, Susie. Come on, suck it up. You can do this.
You absolutely can. And it's not really, you see, because it's not really you doing it.
No.
What you're calling on is the great power, this essence that the quote talks about, which maybe you should read. You are the essence. Now, what this is referring to, this great power that can do this, that will undo the ego. So you can't, there's no way you can do it on your own, because by definition, on your own means you're identifying with the ego. You have to call upon it and say, okay, you know, I've got to allow you in, and you do it, and not my way, but your way, not my will, but thy will be done. You know, as Yeshua prayed, because that's what's going to get you through, not your own power. Your own power has failed you time and time again. Your own power is the problem. Your own, you know, power is causing all of this chaos in your mind. And so you have to go to the very essence of who you are, which is the whole point. You know thyself, know who you are. That's what's going to get you through the challenge. And in the process, you learn, you discover who you really are.
And you're right, we've gone away from knowing ourselves because of that trauma, because of whatever. So it all does make sense. Yeah.
You've just got to remember that when the ego is, you know, in its difficult moments, where it's screaming and kicking and telling you all kinds of lies, and all kinds of strong emotions come up, very strong, intense emotions and impulses, and you don't feel safe and you don't trust yourself. That's when the time is for spiritual practice. Go and, okay, remember the truth. Just remind yourself, use the quote of the day, use the lesson of the day, bring it to mind and say, you know, perfect love is my life. I have no life apart from its awareness. You know, that thought will undo all of that. It's like, I have no life except that awareness. Okay, so right now, that's the truth. There is only this life essence, and it does calm your mind. It does bring peace to a point. And the ego might kick off again, but then, okay, use the lesson again. It's like, this is the medicine for your soul. That's why he's given us daily lessons, and he's saying practice, 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 because he knows that the ego is going to kick up a storm, and he knows it's going to be difficult. So he's like, okay, well, I'm giving you a process to deal with all these difficulties through these daily lessons that are there with you. And then, you know, I've just recorded some breath breaks and meditations to help you, to make it easy. Okay, well, just put the headphones on and play it, and be guided through the breathing. And if you actually do it, you know, inevitably you're going to be helped. You're now giving the Holy Spirit time to come in to your mind through that little spiritual practice that you're doing, and in that process undo the ego for you. So just do it. Just do the lessons, do the meditations, do the program. You know, Yeshua's saying you don't have to worry. If you follow my instructions, the ego is done for. It's a done deal. It's going to happen because he knows that this process works. So follow the instructions, follow the guidance in the program as closely as you can, and it's a done deal. It's gonna happen. And you will get through this, and you will come to a place again where you can return to teaching and helping others. But now you're going to be doing it from a different place. You will actually be the healed healer. You will actually be the enlightened person who can really shine the light for them and be the demonstration of that. And that's your destiny. And this is just the process of getting there, unfolding day by day. So do you want to read the quote? I think that's very appropriate.
You are the essence of who I am, what I do. I cannot live without you. You are my soul. How can I separate you from my heart? I'm the fish. You're the vast ocean. You must not leave me at shore. I cannot live without you.
Does that speak to you? Any thoughts on that? The nice thing about poetry is it connects you with this essence in a kind of a non-intellectual way. It's just a feeling. So can you feel that? Can you feel what it's saying to you?
I've actually my whole body or whatever just went all still and just like, whoa. But you can feel like it's like some of it's resisting it. It's basically in my head and this side, all that feels a bit, it's half and half, like half feels quite upbeat for it and the other half's like, what?
We don't want this.
Yeah,
well then you start to see the split mind. But this is why these spiritual teachings are so helpful, because they do bring the presence that they point to. What he's talking about here is this essence of life itself, and the words convey that. They have a kind of a frequency which helps you to go into that state, and that's why they're useful. So use them. I'm giving you a quote every day. There's the lesson. Write it out. Use it throughout the day to help you in this process. And remind you, it's a lovely analogy, this one. It's all being a fish in the vast ocean. Most people don't even know the ocean. They're like the fish. The fish is unconscious of the ocean. If you said to the fish, what's water? They probably wouldn't understand the question. What's the ocean? I don't know what you mean, because the ocean is just all around them. Just like, the Matrix. We're in the Matrix. We're in this so-called reality, but we don't really know it because it just seems to be something on the surface level, and so we don't really see it more deeply. And this path is about saying, well, look into reality. Look at what you're in. You're in the now moment always. You're in eternity always. This presence is always there. It's your true awareness. You cannot really be apart from that. It's not possible. It's the very essence of your life. So why have you got all this mental and emotional turbulation? Why all the fear and the angst when this presence is you, and that will be so for eternity? There's no reason for it from that perspective. So any other thoughts on the quote?
No, it's a lovely quote. And like you said, it is the truth. It's whether it's hitting the spot, isn't it? You are the essence of who I am, what I do. Cannot live without you.
It's a very fundamental awareness that you are. So you cannot be without it. Without it, you would have no awareness. In other words, you would have no life. You would not exist without this fundamental awareness.
I'm quite annoyed that I've ignored it all my life then. I think that's what I'm feeling, that bloody hell, it's been here all your life and you've just totally ignored it as if it's...
Well, welcome to the human race. That's what everyone spent most of their life doing. And the spiritual awakening is saying, okay, enough of that. I'm choosing to acknowledge it now, and to actually make it my being, to acknowledge it to the point where I so identify with it that it is me. This presence is me, and I accept it as my true identity, and I live and I move in it, and it guides me, and all of my thoughts and my words and my actions, everything comes from it, because it's the essence of me. So you're reinstalling. It's a change of operating system. That's why it's intense. If you change Windows, you say, no, we're going to get rid of Windows now, and we're going to install Apple. We're going to install another operating system like Linux or something. I mean, that's for the computer. That's pretty traumatic. That's the whole operating system of how it works, and everything's going to kind of seem to be up in the air when that's happening. But if it's a better operating system, once that the process is done, the computer's going to work smoothly. So we're like, okay, now everything's okay, and all the new apps are installed. Now everything's working better within this new operating system, because the old one is dysfunctional, and so none of the apps work particularly well. It's just an analogy, but in the same way, everything happening in your life currently with the old operating system it doesn't work particularly well. It's dysfunctional because the operating system is dysfunctional, because the operating system of the ego is the idea of separation. It's dysfunctional. It's based on an untrue idea. It's false. So what can you expect but more dysfunction? So what you're doing, recognize the enormity of what you're doing. What you're doing is, this is the call of the ages. This is what all the masters did. You're doing that process. And so, of course, it's not going to be easy. That's why it's the hero's journey, which is not that common. Most people don't do this in their life. They cover it over, they deny it. The heroes are the people who say, okay, I'm up for this in this life, and I'm not going to wait any longer. I will do this. And I will accept the difficulties and the challenges that come along with that, because it's not an easy life. But then you go, well, what's easier? To accept the truth ultimately, go through the difficulty and accept the truth, and actually find a genuine happiness and peace, or to deny it and live in this really unsettled, uncertain state, always with all that anxiety coming up all the time. That's not how most people live. If you're denying the truth, then it's inevitable you're going to experience anxiety and emotional suffering in many forms. Okay. So any more thoughts on that, Sally? Any ideas on the quote you want to share? Anything you want to share?
I was just thinking about how after I come off these calls, I go into a different state, or I'm in a different state. The energy kind of carries me on, and I often have experiences in the afternoon afterwards. And yesterday's was I was walking along and I suddenly realized that I was feeling a little bit of fear about meeting a certain person that I'd had a dispute with recently. And I was feeling, I just felt some fear about it. And then suddenly it popped in that I just made it up. It's not real. This woman doesn't exist. The conversation we had never existed. It's all just in my mind. And it was just like, I was laughing. It was just so ridiculous. It was like, like a child has make-believe. It was like, I felt like, I just made up that argument. I just made up that woman. I just made up the dog incident. I just made it all up. And I made up the fear about it happening again. And I let it go. And it was just a lovely revelation. And then I carried on walking a bit further, and then I realized, so I'm just an avatar, you know, I'm just not Sally, and I've just, you know, this is my persona. And then I looked at the dog and I thought, well, she's not really a dog. She's just this avatar in this virtual reality game. And then I realized, oh, actually, I've created a dysfunctional dog, an unhealthy dog. And, you know, in a virtual reality game, you wouldn't choose something that was dysfunction. You choose a fully operative, you know, being, wouldn't you? And I was laughing about that. And I was like, all right, I re-choose a dog that's healthy then. Okay. And then I went into this appreciation and love state that we're talking about, the essence of it all. And I just thought, how crazy. But it's like the energy of this group brings those revelations, brings those moments of clarity. It's like it's a wave. I'm in this energy, don't really know what's going on half the time in it. Lots of changes are happening. And then I go out into the world, and a few hours later, I get, oh my goodness, I get that. And they're really strong changes. Like the other day when I had the flash that there's no suffering in the world, it's all only love. And then that has eliminated all suffering for me. Well, so far since then. And it's like, yeah, I was just like, it's really strange that the energy, well, it's not strange. The energy of this group brings these revelations, these moments of clarity, these transformative moments, and they're rebuilding my reality. You know, what I thought was real and what wasn't real. And yeah, it's just
the miracles, you know, what you're living is a course in miracles. It's every day you get the miracles. These are the little revelations, insights that are awakening you to your true self. And that's the, you know, that's the whole process. And all that's happening is you are through this these calls which you're doing regularly, and all the other material, you're immersing yourself in it. You're allowing this power that, you know, wants to awaken you. It's been knocking on your consciousness forever, and you're now allowing it in. You say, okay, I'm opening the doors. I'm going to allow this in, and you know, it's going to show you. And then it does daily. And so you're living in the domain of the miraculous, you know, an extraordinary, ordinary life. I mean, it sounds cliched. You know, you say extraordinary, but it is. I mean, it's because it's, yeah, you're just living your ordinary life. You're going on your dog walks and you're living, you know, this life. But these extraordinary experiences are flowing through it every day. You're having, like, you know, major awakenings and insights, and it's pretty extraordinary, extraordinary, ordinary life. And that's, you know, that's what Yeshua is saying. That's what he's asking us to do. And there's nothing more satisfying, fulfilling than living a life like that, because you're awakening to your true purpose. You're awakening to who you really are. And there's nothing that's going to bring you that level of fulfillment in this world. Everything else is a cheap substitute that cannot bring that fulfillment, because it's not ultimately true. So, you know, Susie, just take heart from myself and Sally. You know, we've been through difficulties, but there is an extraordinary, ordinary life waiting for you on the other side of all the difficulty, where you can really be in the flow of life, and these miracles, you know, start happening regularly, and you live in the domain of the miraculous, and you become an inspiration to others because of that. You go, how did you do it? And you go, okay, there we go. And then you help someone else on their hero's journey, and you can help them through, you know, the difficulties that they'll face, because you've been through them yourself. And you know, that's, you look again at the hero's journey, that's the destiny of all of us. We're going through this. You go through the abyss, you collapse the ego, you come out the other side as a transformed person, and you return. And now that your job, your only real function in this world, is to help awaken others. Because what else are you going to do once you're awake? You're like, well, there's no other point to any of it but to awaken others. And then, you know, that then becomes your higher purpose. So it's all loaded in there. Your script is written. It's all there for you, and you just happen to be here in the script right now. At least you're not there. You know, you've come quite a long way, actually. Somewhere in the thick of this. And all you can do is go through these. So, you know, the only way out of this is through. I can't go backwards, because you can't. Now that, you know, you're in this process, you can't just put a lid on it. Pandora's box is open and it's all come out. So you've got to deal with this stuff, go through it, collapse the ego. And on the other side of it, well, that's what awaits you. And it's a universal archetype. So it's there for you. It will happen in time. Script is written, as Yeshua says. So you can take a lot of heart and confidence from that, and just have the faith that it's all going to work for you. And redouble your efforts. Say, okay, I'll do more spiritual practicing. You know, these calls are happening every day. You could join them. Meditations, breath breaks. Try and, you know, really, really just be more diligent in your practice, because that's what's going to move you down this curve faster. And the ego will kick and scream, and you just go, I'm not listening to you, because I know where I'm going. I know that, you know, this is what I truly want. And so you kind of get the bit between your teeth, and you just do it. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Anything else? Shall we have a look at our lesson for today?
There was today, just as a mundane comment, I was having some challenges at some flats I rent out, and I was staying pretty present. And then there was like a little stumbling block, like, I don't know how to do that. It was like there was no electricity in this flat, and the person had left, and there was no way of knowing what company she was with, or had an electrician there. He had no idea. I asked a DIY man and he had no idea. So I went out to the car. I put on the 15-minute meditation that you shared this morning. And at the end of the 15 minutes, I went, I know. And I went back in, and I just went with the energy of, I don't know, awareness or perfect love, whatever you want to call it. And I pushed the same buttons as I did before, and it came up £5 emergency electric, and all the lights came on, and I was able to get the electrician to finish his job. And it's just that was again a reminder for me. You don't stay in the ego and try and battle it out. You know, you step out of it into the awareness. It's a different energy altogether. It's just yeah. Oh, it happened twice actually. It happened with the washing machine as well. I turned the washing machine on that was broken, and all this water poured out all over the kitchen floor and all over this woman's clothes that were lying there. And I was like, oh my goodness. But I remembered the energy, and I was straight back into awareness straight away. And on the hero's journey, where it says helper, I'm getting much better at understanding this helper bit. I followed my guidance to who to call, and the person answered, and he said, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And the guy turned up, and he fixed the problem, you know, within minutes. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm really seeing these helpers jump out of the woodwork for me when I'm, because I used to ask, but I asked from an egoic point of view, in a kind of desperate, fearful state. And now I go into the awareness and ask for help, and I can actually feel that essence that we're talking about. And I felt it with him when this guy turned up. Again, I've had it before, I've said it before, that it's like an angel that turns up, and he helps, you know, helps resolve it. And it's a very interesting scenario. Yeah, because you could easily go down into the abyss and go, oh my God, not another thing now, what am I going to do? But it was just like, no, I'm going to go and meditate in the car park, and you know, just a confidence that it will be resolved. Yeah, very interesting.
So it's another way of solving problems. This is a problem-solving technique par excellence in the world, because you're going to the very root of the problem, which is your ego, and you're resolving it there. You're saying the ego wants the problem. It wants you to get upset. It wants the drama. So go into the pure formless awareness of perfect love, using these very simple spiritual practices, and yeah, boom, there you go. You change your awareness, and your reality changes, and things show up. And you get these, synchronistic miracles that start happening to show you, well, yeah, this really works. You're not alone. This power, is all powerful. It can help you in any situation. So turn to it, all the time, as your default problem-solving mechanism, rather than trying to do it on your own. And then you're living the hero's journey, as Morpheus says to Neo. There's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. Conceptually, yes, okay, the hero's journey, the model, okay. But walking the path is actually facing the challenges and saying, okay, but I will, in the moment of temptation, I will do what I need to do. I will change my state. I'll collapse it, which is exactly what you did. So you did exactly the best thing. Change your state, take 15 minutes time out, change your state, and then, suddenly you come back, you change your state, you change the energy, the quantum field's just shifted, and boom, suddenly it works. How do you explain that? It didn't work before. Punch in the same keys, now it works. Yeah. Well, because you changed the quantum field, that's why. And everything's working based on that field. And so it seems to be miraculous, but it's obeying laws that we don't really fully understand. And yes, you're saying, but this power is there for you. You can use it. I'm giving you the tools. Why do you have such resistance to it? It can help you. It can heal you. It can bless you and others. It can bring you a happy dream. It can bring you peace while you're here. Ultimate enlightenment. Why do you resist this so much? Why wouldn't you embrace it and say, yes, okay, of course, I'll practice. And I'll connect with this, over and over and over again, because look at what it can do for me. Look at how I feel when I'm in it. And but the more you do it, and the more you get these experiences, the more you see that it works, and it gets reinforced. And so you start to believe more. Okay, well, yes, I know that this works because I've experienced it. It's not someone telling me it works and asking me to have faith. I've experienced it over and over and over again that this works. So I don't doubt it anymore. And so that now you've just changed your operating system. Okay, this operating system works a lot better. Chuck the other one out. Let's go with this one. And you're just in the process of doing the reinstall, Susie. So it's a bit hectic. It's difficult and challenging, and the old operating system doesn't want to go, but just persevere with it, because it will go, and you will do the reinstall, and then you live in the domain of the miraculous. That doesn't mean you don't get challenges and temptations, but it means you just deal with them differently. It's life is smooth. So, okay, yes, that happens. I go restore my mind to the pure form of someone, it's a perfect love, and I go from there. And that's all I'm called upon to do. So it's all good, and you will come into that. You will come into another phase of it. It's inevitable. This is a process. You will move through it. You will get into post this. The kinds of experiences Sally's describing happen post, maybe sometimes during as well. But if it's really challenging and tempting, know that it's going to get easier at some point. You just keep going. Okay, so thank you for sharing that, Sally. Let's have a look at today's lesson and the first 5 paragraphs, because we're supposed to do those every day. So where are we? 223. There we go. So what he's asking us to do, because the lesson is very short, is just read these few paragraphs. There's 5 paragraphs on what is forgiveness, and then use that as preparation for the lesson. So yeah, let's do this. We did this the other day, Sammy, but we'll do it again. We'll check our translation, and well, let's ask Susie to read the first one. So you can read paragraph 1.
Letting go recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has
not. Yeah, stop it there. I think it'll be useful. Oh. Read the original, and then read the translation.
Okay. Forgiveness recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred. It does not pardon sins and make them real. It sees there was no sin, and in that view are all your sins forgiven. What is sin except a false idea about God's Son? Forgiveness merely sees it false, merely sees its falsity and therefore lets it go. What then is free to take its place is now the will of God.
Okay, so then read the translation.
Letting go recognizes what you thought your companion did to you has not occurred. It does not pardon sins and make them real. It perceives there was no sin, and in that view are all your sins let go of.
So pause it there. Any thoughts on that? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
You see what he's saying? I mean, this is the way out, because he's saying nothing really ever happened. That's the only way you're going to undo all of the seeming consequences of sin and guilt. If we have a look at this, let's just bring this one up. Where are we? There's the course manual. So where are we? There we go. So to go back to this, the consequences of sin are all of this. Right? The idea of sin underpins the ego's individual identity. So then you have guilt, you have a false expectation of punishment appearing real. Then you have the whole Big Bang projection outwards of the mind, fragmentation of it into separate forms, and everything that's happened subsequent in the universe. It all comes from this idea of a separate self, and then the sin and the guilt that we feel for that. And so he's saying, well, forgiveness or letting go simply undoes it by saying it's not true. It's not true. It's not real. It's never happened. And that's the only way out, because then you deny all of this. All consequences of the separation are then undone. And you restore your mind then to this, your formless awareness of perfect love. So that's why forgiveness, this radical forgiveness, works, because it's underpinned by these metaphysics. So you understand this, the only logical thing would be to then do is let it go, fully let it go. So it's I can let it go because it's not true, it's not real. Anything else, you make it real, well then its consequences seem to be real and you seem to be suffering because of them. So it's an all or nothing deal. You're either going to let it go entirely and say none of this is true and none of it's real, or you hold on to some of it and then it's all real for you. You can't hold on to a little bit of unreality and not accept all of it. So it's, as he says, this course will be accepted entirely or not at all.
And I think that's where the conflict is, because you're saying you are, but you're not. It's not fully committed, is it? You think you're letting go, but you're not.
Yeah, because it's a process. But by reminding yourself of this over and over again, you start to let go more and more. And really let go. So if you notice you're still holding on, you remind yourself that forgiveness simply recognizes that none of this is true. None of it ever happened. I mean, that's ultimate freedom, isn't it? None of it ever really happened. My entire life, all the drama, all the trauma, it never really happened. And that's true right now. So I'm actually free of all of it right now. That's the power of this simple idea. Which is the essence of really the whole course, what he's saying here. Understanding this and applying it into your daily life is the art of letting go. That's why we study and practice. because to actually live this way is requires a lot of mind training, a lot of practice. But the theory here is just reminding us, okay, this is the ultimate truth. So remind yourself about this over and over and apply those, and don't compromise on this, because the ego is going to tempt you to compromise, but it's saying don't. There is no compromise in truth, it's because truth and illusion are opposite states. If you compromise a bit on the truth, then you have an illusion. You're actually in the opposite of the truth. Okay, so if you want to read number 5, what is sin?
It does not letting, where did we go?
Yeah, what is
sin?
Yeah.
So what is sin except the false idea about perfect love's extension? Letting go merely perceives its falsity and therefore lets it go. What then is free to take its place is now the pure formless awareness of perfect love.
Make sense? So you're cutting away everything that's not. You're simply letting it go, and then what's left is just this pure awareness. So you don't have to become that awareness. It's just releasing what's not you to reveal what is you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because it is remembering that, isn't it? It's that whole awareness. It's just remembering that.
So you remember by forgetting what's not true. You remember by forgetting what's covering it over. And that process of forgetting that we call letting go or forgiveness, whatever word you prefer. But I prefer letting go because it's very descriptive of what you're actually doing, how it feels. Too many people, like the other night, Nick was saying, well, when people say you must forgive yourself, I don't really get that. What does that actually mean? And so I explained it in letting go terms and said, well, what you're really doing is letting go of your own negative thoughts and emotions. That's what you're doing when you're forgiving yourself. Okay, well, that makes sense. That's kind of clear and simple. So we want to clarify and make it as clear and simple and straightforward as possible so that it's easily understandable. Otherwise, it just doesn't get applied. Okay, so happy with number 1. Do you want to give a little summary of that, Susie? What's that saying in essence?
It is basically saying everything's made up, isn't it? Letting go recognises what you thought. Keep coming back to the truth of who you are, which is pure formless awareness of perfect love.
And the way you do it is through this letting go process. And there's no other way. You must let go. However you do that, there's many names for letting go. You could call it surrender, releasing. Some people even call it acceptance. Acceptance of what? Well, what you're really accepting is the truth, and then letting go of the illusion. But for me, letting go is the clearest term. It's most descriptive of what you're actually doing. So then that's why we use it, rather than forgiveness or something else. Okay, so happy to move on to number 2.
Yeah.
Sally, you can read that for us. Do you want to read the original, I think, and then in fact, I don't think it makes much difference here. There's hardly anything to change.
Yeah, it looks like much the same, doesn't it? Shall I read the second one then? Alternatively, an unforgiving thought is one which makes a judgment that it will not question, although it is not true. An unforgiving thought is one which makes a judgment that it will not question, although it is not true. Yeah. The mind is closed and will not be released. An unforgiving thought protects projection, tightening its chains so that distortions are more veiled and more obscure, less easily accessible to doubt and further kept from reason. What can come between a fixed projection and the aim that it has chosen as its wanted goal? I don't remember that being that difficult last time I read it. Funny, isn't it?
So what's it saying?
Don't want to let it go, don't want to release it. Wants to hang on to these chains and distortions for some reason, which obscures our essence. Isn't it strange why we want to hang on to it?
Very strange. Saying this is crazy and insane. It doesn't make any sense. But we're very attached to our negativity. Maybe we should change this to a negative. What do you think? A negative thought.
Yeah.
Because negative actually means negating. That's where it comes from. So it negates the truth. A negative thought, negating the truth, negating pure formless awareness of perfect love. One which makes a judgment that it will not question, although it is not true. So every negative thought has judgment at its core. Oh, that's like this, and you judge another person or you judge a situation. And it kind of closes the mind down, doesn't it? These words are backwards. So you feel kind of contracted and constricted.
Separates.
And yeah, the more you think that thought, the more closed you feel. And what it does is it separates you from your true awareness, and it separates you from the other person or people involved. And so you feel separate and alone. And this closes the mind. Instead of being open and expansive, it's closed, and you're really in your own mental prison.
That's where I am now.
None of which makes any sense. No, yes, yeah, and you're trying to break free. So that's, well, most people really are consumed by their negative thoughts for most of their life, and they live in this.
So how does the mind? Because I do like this paragraph because it's true. It is very true. A negative thought is one which makes, I like how you change that to a negative thought, because you can just sit there and think, what are you on about? But as soon as you change it to a negative thought, and then you think, yeah, that's where judgment comes from, and you're only doing it, nobody else, because nobody knows what you're thinking or whatever, but the mind is closed and will not be released. So how does it open? And when you're repeating all these lessons that you're doing and these breath breaks, this is what's really challenging me at the minute, because if you are getting up and doing it and you are putting in the work, but you're feeling like this, something's giving way and saying this needs to stop, because it does feel like you're going stir crazy.
Yeah, well, what you're trying to do is
if I didn't show up, or if I didn't check Telegram, or if I didn't, check the messages and check breath breaks. Sometimes I don't do the breath break. I have to read it and do those sessions. If I wasn't doing all that, I'd understand why the chaos is running chaotically in my head. But when you are doing it and then you see this, it just makes you wonder. Because like you said, if you follow your bliss, if you follow your happiness, nothing can distort that. Yeah, it feels like something every time I do get to that place, because you can't deny and say that you're not doing it. It's not 100% of the time that you're getting that kind of, everything's okay.
Isn't it because you are doing it that you are aware of the thoughts, the negative thoughts?
Yeah.
People aren't aware at all.
Yeah.
Way along your journey to be able to know that you're in this prison, in this battle, having negative thoughts. I mean, that shows great awareness.
You have to become aware of it to let it go. The forgiveness or letting go is a two-step process. fundamentally 2 steps in it. First step is you must be aware of the negativity and identify to say, okay, this is a negative thought. I don't want this. This isn't serving me. Otherwise, how do you choose step 2 to let it go? Well, you can't. If you think the thought is you identify with it, or you think the thought is fine and you want to keep it, then there can be no letting go. So the awareness that something's wrong precedes letting go. It's an essential part of the process. So you acknowledge the error temporarily. It's okay, it's just an error. I recognize it, but I can let it go now to correct it. So it's a simple 2-step. We talked about the double whammy. You open up the ego with the jab of awareness. So now that opens it up, and now it's ready for the the right hook of letting go. Okay, now you're going to let it go, and you're going to take it to the floor.
Gosh, there must be a lot of stuff let go of.
Without the awareness, you can't do it.
Mm.
So it's 1-2, 1-2 all the time. So you just got to get really good at that. And when you're doing the breath breaks, that's what you're doing. It's in every breath break. Breathe, become aware, observe it, choose to let it go. So it's 1-2 all the time. Simple. I just repeat. Just like a champion boxer, you do that over and over and over again. Eventually the opponent drops because this can't, on the 100th right hook, it goes down because it's can't sustain it anymore. And you just never know when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you're plugging away. You're in a marathon. You're in a heavyweight boxing fight with this apparent monster. If you watched Rocky, the big Russian dude who's monster, and he's got to go up against him with courage and heart. Go okay, it's I know it's going to be tough, but I just keep going, and I know that ultimately this it will go down. It can't sustain against the truth. So I just keep going, keep peppering it every day, every hour. This is what Yeshua's saying. Keep at it, keep undoing it, keep interrupting its pattern, and it's got to go. It will give way. But it's a process. The reason it's arising so strongly is it's defending itself. It knows it's in a fight for its life. So now you're in the ring with it, and you're taking it on, and it feels extremely challenging sometimes, and that's why you feel threatened. But no, it's going to go. It can't sustain against the truth. And then this projection thing. Do you understand what he means by projection?
Yeah.
Susie? Looks like Susie's busy. Okay. So projection is really the mechanism of the ego to put outside of itself what is inside. So it's the core beliefs in separation that are now hurled out of the mind into this illusory world. And now those projections are seen to be real, which makes the beliefs real. And so this is how we tighten our chains.
Sorry about that, Johnny. Somebody's just come in. Yeah, I was going to say about that. I can't see the other sentence. The one before the one that you're talking about. The mind is closed and will not be released, which I get. And then you shared the letting go process. Then a negative thought protects projection, tightening its chains so that distortions are more veiled and more obscure, less easily accessible to doubt and further. Right, okay.
So you see what projection's doing. You project on one level from your false belief. Let me show you this. Integral, where are we? There. So from a false belief system, ego is based on separation, a separate self. You now project out into the external world, and now you have various observed behaviors and performance outcomes and situations and people and events showing up But all of that is a projection. It's a projection of your own belief system, which then the ego interprets as real, and then that feeds back into the belief system and reinforces it. So now you have perception of the projection. So projection from the inside out, and now perception goes the other way and says, I perceive what's outside of me, and that reinforces my belief system, which of course is the source of the projection. So it's a feedback loop. You just keep going around and around and around. And we've been doing that. These are the chains that he's talking about. We've just been doing that over and over and over again for our entire lives and maybe many lifetimes. And now he's saying you've got to break the cycle by realizing that it's not the problem is not external. The problem is internal. The problem is your belief system, and your belief system has just been projected out to manifest these difficult, challenging circumstances in your life. But the belief system is the problem, and that's where the healing lies, in healing those beliefs, letting go of those beliefs. So then you change your perception of it, you see. Instead of saying, oh, well, that's so, and therefore my belief is confirmed, you say, no, actually, I'm just seeing that this is my own projection. And this is really helpful to see, because now I can see it manifested. I can become aware of it, consciously aware of it, brings the belief into conscious awareness, and now I can let it go. I can let go of the belief. And that's really helpful to undo this belief system that is the ego. So then you welcome it all in. So the very mechanism of projection that the ego has invented to defend itself becomes the mechanism of its undoing with the Holy Spirit's reinterpretation. And that's the genius of this thought system, the Holy Spirit's thought system, which means that the ego will ultimately be undone. It's got no answer to that except to project more. And that's probably what's happening with you. Okay, yes. More and more projection. Yeah. Throw it all out there, and it's, the shit's hitting the fan, and it's splattered all over, and it's just like you're going, oh my God, this is awful, and it stinks and terrible, and when's it going to stop? Because it's just all of those beliefs spewing out into the external world, projecting out as the ego's defense mechanism, its final stand. And now it's showing it to you. Do you see how beautiful it is? It's revealing all the shit to you. You see it and go, oh, well, that's really, no, I can't consciously choose that. The only option here is to let it go. I don't want any of this. The effects are so awful to show you the awful nature of the belief and the beliefs that sponsor them. And so then you have one sane choice, which is to let it go. Let go of the beliefs.
But that's what we're holding on to, those beliefs. And if those beliefs were, embedded, so it all does make sense. And that's what's happening. You're protecting that belief, which is not true.
Which is why he says, read the rest.
Yeah.
The negative thought protects projection. Yeah. Tightening its chain. So now you have this chain that you bound yourself into. You project, and then you perceive your projection as correct, and that reinforces the false belief. And then you keep projecting the false, and then you keep believing that it's true because you perceive it to be true. And around you go, and you get more and more enslaved in that. And that's why he uses the language, tightening its chain. So distortions are more veiled and more obscure, less easily accessible to doubt and further kept from reason. So this whole process, you can't see the wood for the trees. You can't see what's really happening. And then you end up blaming the external world and being a victim. So, it's not my fault. I'm just, the victim of a cruel world, and I don't really have any control. And you actually do, because it's your beliefs that are the problem. So what can come between a fixed projection from a false belief that you determine to hang on to, and the aim that is chosen as a wanted goal. And the only thing that can come between that is the truth, that none of it's true, none of it's real, and so that you can let it go. Yes, does paragraph 2 make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain it to me?
It makes you realize that hamster wheel, that whole, you can see this being played now, can't you? You can actually see that being played.
You can see how you played the game, how the ego basically played you for a fiddle your entire life through this process.
And then every time you get triggered, you get the other, it's like a hamster wheel, and you're just forever going round and round, and it's like, oh, cut those chains. I guess the more I'm looking at this is, I probably really find it hard to let go.
No, everyone does. Because what you're letting go of is your separate self. It's your self-concept, your identity of being Susie, a separate self, separate person with your own story, your own history, your own hang-ups, negativities, dramas, fears, desires, all of that. And that's the ego. That's what you believe you are. So,
but now it's making more and more sense that when I came on the call and said I wasn't feeling safe, this is it. This was where I'm not feeling, because I'm going back to a child. It's like I'm trying to solve whatever's happening with me in that childlike mind. But when you said the problem or something, solutions in the problem, or I've heard that before as well.
The solution is inherent in the problem. So recognizing the problem is in your mind opens you to the solution. Okay, well, let go of the problem, which is in my mind. It's not out there. The problem is my own belief system. And so I have a perceptual problem because I'm believing something that's false, and then I perceive incorrectly. And that's what this is all about, correcting the perception to correct the belief, so that you restore your mind to sanity, and you no longer believe that you're a separate self. And you're no longer on the hamster wheel. And simply recognizing I'm responsible. This is my projection. That breaks it, doesn't it? I'm doing this to myself. So I can't be a victim if I'm doing it to myself. All I can do is let go of any attachment to this, because it's not true. It's not real. The whole thing is made up. And then have a good laugh about it and go, that's just insane.
Yeah. And the truth is, this is what I've been doing to myself. This is what I've been creating, because I didn't know no other way. Yeah. But because we've come on the call to show that I think this is pretty huge.
Yeah, if you get those, it's all my projection. It's the end of the victim. Well, I'm doing it to myself. So how can I be a victim if I'm victimizing myself? So the illusion of being a victim then is undone. And then you must take responsibility, which opens the way for forgiveness. Okay, well, if I'm doing it to myself, maybe I should stop doing it. Maybe I should let go of these insane beliefs, which are really not serving me. I can see that. And therein lies the healing of the mind, in the letting go of those beliefs. And then what reveals itself is the pure formless awareness of perfect love that was always there, just covered over by those beliefs. So do you see how simple it is? It's such a simple teaching. It doesn't mean it's easy, but it's really simple. The theory is so simple.
You've been on the planet for God knows how many years and really embedded this as the truth, ain't you? A negative thought is, but I'm seeing it. I'm noticing it as you're telling me. I can see this at play. This is huge.
So the negative thoughts are what make up your ego. They are the essence of your ego. Just thoughts and emotion. That's it. That's all it is. So that has no substance. It's just false thoughts and false emotion. It has no absolute reality at all, and it knows that. That's why it feels so insecure. It's just a bunch of crazy thoughts and emotions connected to this one idea of separation. And none of it's true, because the idea behind it is not true. The idea of separation isn't true. So therefore, all of its effects are false. The projection, the defenses, the negative thoughts, all of it is just false. And when you see that, there's your freedom. That's what he's pointing to in the first. None of it is true. Simply we recognize that none of it's true. Perceives there was no sin. None of it ever happened. Just crazy ideas, crazy thoughts and ideas and beliefs projected out. None of it's really true. Okay, happy to move on. So if you can read the next one, Susie. an unforgiving thought. Let's change that to a negative thought.
A negative thought does many things. In frantic action, it pursues its goal, twisting and overturning what it sees as interfering with its chosen path. Distortion is its purpose and the means by which it would accomplish it as well. It sets about its furious attempts to smash reality without concern for anything that would appear to pose a contradiction to its point of view.
Wow. Does that make sense? Yeah. And that's kind of what's happening in the mind.
Yes.
Frantic action, just like all over the place, and it feels frantic and desperate and really uncomfortable. And what it's trying to do is smash reality with a capital R, to smash this pure formless awareness of perfect love that's arising in your mind. That's always been there.
Gosh.
And it's trying to smash it and say, no, that's not true. There is no, just get into turbulation and just chaos and confusion, because it's desperate. It's trying to defend itself against the power of this pure formless awareness that is threatening its entire existence.
Wow.
So do you understand what's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a hamster wheel.
It's no longer scary, is it?
Mm.
It's no longer scary when you truly understand it. You suddenly go, okay, well, that's interesting. I can observe all of that. There's an awareness in me that can see all of that and not get sucked in by it. Okay, it's furious attempts to smash reality. The ego's just kicking off and going crazy, and all of that's just trying to smash the pure formless awareness of perfect love that underlies it. And tell you, no.
Just seeing that and knowing what I went through this morning is you've just put it there. Yeah. It does not want you to be aware one bit, does it? It would do anything for you to stop the awareness from coming through to you. Wow.
But when you see that, then it's very helpful, because you can say, well, okay, I get the game. Once you understand the game, I understand what it's trying to do. And so I can't be fooled anymore. It'll try and smash reality even more because of that. Oh, and now she's just done a call and she's actually got, more insights. Going to go, woo! Probably, but just laugh at it. Just look at all of this kicking off and just go, you're just totally insane. It's bonkers. There's no logic here. There's no sanity. Just let it spin itself around. Don't do anything. Just sit and watch it and see the ego thrashing about and flailing about in its insanity. And you can kind of start to laugh at it and go, this is just like crazy, ludicrous, mad. And
yes, but the truth
to be undone in your mind. It's just like watch it thrash around, and it's like some alien entity just writhing in its death throes. And you're observing it from your pure formless awareness and going, I just don't buy any of it. It's just watching this thing just do its thing, and eventually it's going to run its course and be undone. Just watch it without being moved. There's no need to be mentally and emotionally moved by it. Just observe it and go, okay, off you go then. Thrashing around, don't move, just watch it. Sit there, and as you said this morning, just watch it do its thing and just stay in that awareness. Okay, I'm just going to observe this. Spinning itself around, and eventually it's gonna thrash itself out, and then peace will be restored. And the more you do that, you just, that's letting go, isn't it? You're releasing it. Just sitting in awareness and letting it do its thing is letting it go.
Wow, that's big. You would have thought I'm going to see it played out like that. It's amazing, isn't it? It's just absolutely, that's just, don't even know what to say. But you just said it, I'm following the essence of the ego. That's what I was doing this morning. Because I was literally shitting myself, scared shitless like a kid. Yet there was no need for it.
And then you got, upset in the shop and frustrated and irritated, and it's going to tie all of that. All of that comes up, and you go, oh, like, why am I so irritated by nothing? Why can't I just be at peace? And it's really on edge. It feels like sandpaper in your consciousness. So it's like, well, that's how it felt for me. It's like, oh, just you do just want to like get out of it, stop it. The only way out is through. You've got to work through it to let it go and find the pure formless awareness beyond it. Okay. Happy with number 3?
Okay.
Number 4.
Letting go, on the other hand, is still and quietly does nothing. It offends no aspect of reality, nor seeks to twist it to appearances it likes. It merely looks and waits and does not judge. She who would not let go must judge, for she must justify her failure to let go. But she who would let go of her separate self must learn to welcome truth exactly as it is.
Oh, wow. That's just...
It's just what I said, quietly does nothing. Just looks.
Must proves that I've been judging myself more than anything. Wow.
Looks and waits and does not judge. So you stay in that awareness and you just look at all this kicking off and the ego doing its thing, and you go, I'm not going to judge this as real. And in that process, you're letting it go. If you make it real and you react to it, then what you're doing is justifying your failure to let go and judging. So you see what judgment does? It makes the unreal real. And that's what the primary weapon of the ego.
Sometimes when I say to people it's not real, it makes them angry. And I was talking to someone last night, and I was like, oh, where can you go with that then? They're very aware, and I was just explaining that that's just a projection and it's not real, just to remind her. But then it makes that person really pissed off.
Yeah, because it's a defense mechanism of the ego. It's now the truth's been revealed, and it doesn't like that. So it's got to bring up a negative emotion. Negative thought does many things. Frantic action pursues its goal, twisting and overturning what it sees as interfering with its chosen path, distorting reality, smashing reality. Anger, rage. Okay, well, let's get angry then. So because the truth is coming, so anger will distort that, and anger will cover that awareness over, and return to the mind to its state of desired state of chaos and confusion, which is what the ego wants. The more you see this play itself out, you just go, this is totally insane. This entity is just nuts, mad, insane, crazy, and this must go. I can't accept any of this in my mind anymore. This is what I've been listening to for all my life, all my lifetimes. It's a bit shocking, really. It's like, whoa, like, yeah, I've basically been insane my entire life. And every life that I've had, the human life is insane. And now it's just being shown to me that it's insane. And if that doesn't push a few buttons and feel a bit hectic and intense, then nothing will. This is like about as intense as it gets. But you will get through it. And she would let go of her separate self, must learn to welcome truth exactly as it is. Right? So you can't fudge it, you can't compromise. It's like exactly as it is, which is exactly how he's giving it to us in this course. There's no fudging, there's no ambiguity. He's saying, It's this is the truth and this is illusion, and you need to see the difference. Don't try and fudge the difference. Don't try and reconcile them, because they never will reconcile. Just accept the truth exactly as it is, and that is your salvation or awakening.
People say to me that I should meet people where they are, meaning that I should talk from a middle ground rather than from my perspective. What do you think about that?
Well, that's dangerous. If you start compromising on the truth, understand why people say it, because someone might not be ready to hear that truth, which is probably why Yeshua said, don't cast your pearls before swine. But he didn't compromise on the truth, not at all. What he did do, however, was he taught in parables. He didn't just go, okay, guys, it's all an illusion, you're dreaming. He was like, okay, well, probably the masses are not going to understand this. If I start talking about advanced metaphysics, no one's going to get it, and I'll probably be stoned to death as well. So I'll teach them in parables. And so he taught in a way that could be understood and was helpful. So that's kind of what it means. So maybe someone's not ready for the metaphysics of the course, it's all an illusion, but you could say, well, it's a mirror. The world is your mirror, and what you're seeing is really a projection of your own mind. And you can let it go because it's just your own belief being projected. Well, someone might be able to accept that. That will lead them eventually to realization. Yes, well, this is just as an illusion. The projection is an illusion, but you don't necessarily use that language first up because it might turn them off. So you need to be guided by spirit as to what to say, what language to use, without diluting the truth. But you can use, there's many angles to this. You can use a way in that doesn't freak someone out. You could use the hero's journey as a way. Talk to them about the hero's journey. Show them the diagram. Say, well, where are you? And then people will go, oh, well, actually, maybe I'm at the threshold. And then you're engaging them. And so it's just being guided as to how best to approach, how to be truly helpful. Really, that's the prayer, isn't it? That I put it in the email every day. Here's the helpfulness prayer. I'm here only to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent the pure formless awareness of perfect love within me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because this awareness will direct me. I'm content to be wherever it wishes, knowing it goes there with me. I will be healed as I let it teach me to heal. So this is the healer's prayer.
I have that written in my book. When I seen it, I wrote it in my book and knew it was something I was going to say. And I think, like you said, coming on the call has confirmed that I'm doing a lot right, and it's just niggling the ego out of me. Because I do love that, because I've always questioned a lot of things of what I've done in life, but I've always been there to help, and I will always help. I have no, I love that, actually. It's so simple.
It's relaxing. It's like, oh,
yeah.
I haven't got to try and work it out. I'll just be told,
But I can see now, speaking to you even more and more, it is that ego holding on and not wanting to let go. And then when I've spoke about the trauma, I can see, I can see so much today. And I know it's my doing. That's why I've never been one to, blaming that, because I know you put yourself in these situations, and there's consequences sometimes, I believe, but I've never seen it to the extent, because obviously you're unpicking it all the time, aren't you? Letting us know.
Yeah, well, that's why I come on the calls, because we unpack it and you just see it, and usually, the lesson will support it. The lesson or the text will support that process, and it's just very appropriate. I mean, this particular section on forgiveness is perfect for you. That's often what happens. It's just the perfect message. So Join us more often. Be nice to have more than two of us on the call. So yeah, any thoughts on number 4?
I like how you said, when you say it's all an illusion, there's that relaxation, that stillness comes with it. Because I was wondering if I was doing the right thing by saying, oh, it's all an illusion, because I get that really lovely feeling when I say it. It's just like, which is letting go, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And if you're really letting go and you feel that release, then it's working.
Yeah, I just keep
you know, the ego say, oh, you're copping out, it's all an illusion. What are you talking about? It might try and confuse that with spiritual bypassing or metaphysical ghosting, as David Hoffmeister calls it. But it's not. If there's a genuine feeling of release, then you're not. You're letting go of the ego, which is the whole point. Yeah. It's all an illusion, and I'm not really going to look at my stuff and let it go. That's spiritual bypassing. But it's all an illusion. Saying it, with the understanding and feeling that feeling of release, well, then you're applying the truth to let go of the illusions.
It's also that denial of truth, isn't it? Because you've not lived that way for so long. You've lived it, like you said earlier, the true essence of the ego, not by the truth of who you are. And because you followed that for so long, it's become like your truth, but it's not the truth, it's a lie. That's why it's so unsettling, isn't it? Because you're believing something that's not true.
Yeah. And that's what disturbs your peace over and over and over again. You can't believe what's untrue and not have your peace disturbed. Because your true mind, your remembrance of perfect love, which is the Holy Spirit, knows that that's not true. And so it creates this enormous conflict in you. Okay, so happy to move on to number 5.
Yeah.
You read that. So read the original and then the translation below.
Do nothing then, and let forgiveness show you what to do through him who is your guide, your savior and protector, strong in hope and certain of your ultimate success. He has forgiven you already, for such is his function, given him by God. Now must you share his function and forgive whom he has saved, whose sinlessness he sees, and whom he honors as the Son of God. Which I don't get none of that until I read the alternative, to be honest. honest, I will not get none of it until, because I have to really, like now you've softly put, do nothing then, and allow letting go to show you what to do. Through your guide, your awakener and protector, strong in hope and certain of your ultimate success. Now, I always believe the ego is a protector as well. Protecting you from the truth. And then you've got the truth protecting you from...
Well, it's telling you, the ego is going to tell you the lie, that it's protecting you. No, you need me. You need me to keep you safe. I've protected you. You're not going to, the spirit can't help you in this world because it doesn't understand this world. You need me, I protect your body. I've kept you safe so far. It's going to tell you all these lies, and actually it's just tormenting you, protecting you at all. And the spirit can handle it all, as is demonstrated by these miracles. You can solve problems on the level of form through the Holy Spirit quite well. So you really don't need the ego at all. Because there's a teaching, some spiritual teachings say, oh no, well you kind of need the ego while you're here. You don't want to completely let it go because it's going to feed you and sort out the material stuff, and then you kind of have your spiritual life, and somehow they're divorced. Well, clearly you're just in separation. You haven't actually integrated, and you still got a split mind. So this is unequivocally saying, no, you're going to let it go entirely while you're here. That's the whole point. You have to do it while you seemingly here in the body to free your mind. And the Holy Spirit can take care of the logistics, practicalities of your life quite well. Much, much, much better than the ego.
Do nothing then and allow letting go to show you what to do. Through your guide, your awakener and protector, strong in hope and certain of your ultimate success. You have never been condemned, but only loved by this loving presence. For such is its function, given to it by pure formless awareness of perfect love. Now you must share its function and let go of all condemnation towards perfect love's extension that it has awakened, whose sinlessness it perceives and whom it honors as the extension of perfect love.
Let's change sinlessness to innocence, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Because innocence, it perceives and whom it honors as the extension of perfect love. Does that make any more sense to you than the first time? First time, right?
Yeah, because the first part, sometimes when I read that, it does send mind crazy, because I don't understand that, you know, if you've never been brought up to think of God or, you know, the Son of God or sins or anything, it's just like, it's a different world, isn't it? Yeah, I do prefer that. It's very soft and gentle, isn't it?
Well, that's why we do it. Yeah, to translate it so it's more understandable. You can feel into, you know, they say feel into the words. You can feel into these words more, so that you actually feel the presence of what the words are pointing to. This loving presence.
Yeah. There's more of a gentle, aware, you know, you can just accept it more, I think, or accept it better, rather than having.
It's all about experiential, you know, experiential understanding means you feel. You don't just think. It's not just thinking, conceptual knowledge. It's a feeling. So, you know, we call that heart. It's the head and the heart, mind and heart. It's like the heart feels, and now you understand more than just conceptually. You understand experientially if you're feeling, and that's what the words are helping you to do. So why we do the translation. Okay, so what are you feeling? What's
It's good. I mean, to say what I said at the beginning, and to know that you've just literally unpicked it all of what's happened.
But is there clarity in your mind now?
Yeah.
And more peace.
It's kind of, you already knew that was the truth, but you've been living this way because you had to unpick it. You had to do, sometimes you don't get that understanding. Sometimes you don't do it because you've got to have that experience. But for me to have had that experience this morning and just really be allowed to unpick it here and see it for what it is, and that's just.
But do you see why every day, if you show up, do you see the power of it? Because every day you can unpack it. You can unpack your experiences from the last 24 hours and go, okay, so what can I learn from this? And this, you know, you accelerate your spiritual journey massively, rather than going 2 weeks where you're in the ego fug, because it doesn't want you to see the wood for the trees. And then it keeps you in that interpolated state. So think of it as a spiritual gym. You know? You're doing daily spiritual gym to flex your spiritual muscles, to get clear, to get fit, to get light, you know, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And you do it daily because, well, your experience of the day is enhanced. So as you say, Sally, after the call, you go and, you know, that you have a different experience because of it. And then also long term, you know, you're accelerating your journey to the ultimate goal of enlightenment, where you free yourself entirely from the dream of being human in this world. So it's real time. In that day, you're gonna experience a different quality of experience, a higher quality of experience. And then, overall in the bigger picture, you're moving more swiftly towards that ultimate goal of collapsing the ego entirely. So yeah, try and join us more often, and just upgrade your membership. It's very easy to do. There's no, that's why I've left it very flexible. It's like you're not signed into because if you decide to change, well, just change it and upgrade it to the next level. So try and do 3 times a week. I'd really recommend it. Okay. So any thoughts on number 5? Any feelings?
Like you said, it's very soft, isn't it? It's letting you know the truth. It's really good.
You've never been condemned, and that's such a nice feeling. I've never been condemned. This presence never condemned you. You condemned yourself. That's the truth of the matter. Condemned yourself to the hell of the ego and all this suffering, mental, emotional, physical suffering for no reason at all. So let go of all the condemnation towards yourself, towards perfect love's extension, because none of it's true, except that we are all innocent, because in pure formless awareness of perfect love, that's innocence is another pointer to that state of just being free in your mind. And you honor yourself as that. You are the innocent, pure formless awareness of perfect love. Always. Okay, so any further thoughts on this? Come to the end of the intro to the lesson, which brings us to our lesson. Shall we dive into that? So, Sally, if you can read the key idea, the translation, and paragraph 1, please.
God is my life. I have no life but his. Perfect love is my life. I have no life apart from its awareness. I was mistaken when I thought I lived apart from God, a separate entity that moved in isolation, unattached and housed within a body. Now I know my life is God's. I have no other home, and I do not exist apart from him. He has no thoughts that are not part of me, and I have none but those which are him. That was interesting. Normally the non-translated one doesn't really make me feel anything, but I really like that one.
Good.
Must have let go of my resistance to God at last.
Maybe.
So
talking about life, it's quite powerful. It's just, life. The idea of life as our essence and God's essence. And so maybe that's what was touching you. But read the alternative, see how that feels.
I was mistaken when I thought I lived apart from pure formless awareness of perfect love, a separate entity that moved in isolation, unattached, and housed within a body. Now I know that perfect love is my life. I have no other home, and I do not exist from it. It has no thoughts that are not part of me, and I only have those which come from it. I had this moment earlier when I was stuck in traffic and I'd got my little card and I was reading the lesson of the day, and I was like, I've got no life apart from its awareness, and I could so feel it. It was just so visceral. It was it certainly changed. It certainly feels like an experience now, rather than just like, oh yeah, I get it in my head, I understand what you mean. But I think reading that, it touches me because I did feel so separate in a body, and I did move in isolation, and I felt unattached. So it's very moving. I mean, it's like
kind of looking back on how it was and how miserable it was, and now how miraculous life is. And yeah, it's just two different worlds. Absolutely.
Which is why he says, you move into the real world. The real world is the world shown to you through this changed perception. That is, you're wholly aware. There's love, there's peace, there's joy, there's flow, and life can be pretty okay. And it's not the truth. This world is not your home, never will be. But while you're here, you can have a happy dream and let it play out in happiness and peace, rather than all the misery and the suffering, which was all self-imposed.
Feels like it's gone beyond the happy dream. It's like, I kind of knew that before, that I was creating a happy dream, but now, I don't know, stage 3. Stage 1 in a body, stage 2, create the healthy dream, stage 3, be the awareness, not accepting the dream. Kind of, well, accepting it, but yeah, just not in it.
Well, you see, it's not true. So you can kind of float above the battleground and you can be in it, but not of it, and go, yeah, just this awareness. It really doesn't matter what's happening. I'm just that awareness. It goes happy dream it's a pointer. But at that state of awareness, which is perfectly enlightened awareness, it just is. You're in the isness of the beingness of it. And you could call it happiness, I suppose, but happiness is almost trivial. It's just, I am that I am. That presence is me. And you sense it very deeply. You feel it. And you're not moved. You're not shaken out of that. So it's a deep peace coming from your true beingness. And that's being in the world, but not of the world. That's where this is, is leading us. To be able to stay in that awareness, no matter what experiences show up in the dream. Just stay rooted in the awareness always. No matter what faces us.
And it's very enjoyable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even in a difficult situation, you can actually flow with it. And okay, it's actually okay. Because I have that awareness and I'm rooted in it and I'm safe. No matter what happens, I'm safe in that awareness.
And it feels empowering.
Hugely. It's the only, it's the only source of empowerment. Nothing else is really empowering at all. The ego tries to spin stories, but it's just another illusion. So temporarily you might feel a bit of rah power. I'll go for an egoic goal, and that makes me strengthens my separate self-concept. But inevitably that's going to lead us down the garden path. We're going to get to the point where that disappoints us, and then there's going to be all of that disappointment again, and all the victimhood arises and so on. And this is just pure power. It's like there's no downside to it.
I think today when I was going through that stuff this morning, and I had to remind myself of today's lesson, was when I heard the song on the radio, that Sweet Freedom, and I really had to listen to the words of it, because those words were letting me know that, forget all that. Why were you going down that route? You're right. It's just paying attention, isn't it? It's always being aware, and that's where it can just, and it just shows how quick how I get so distracted. Yet beyond it all, there was just, you can't really believe, well, you can believe that we've spoke so intensely about even my experience this morning, but we can all just sit here and smile because we know what the truth is, because we are just aware of it all.
Yeah.
I feel really grateful when I hear or when I see, because that ego part of you does not want you to believe that you are love and that you are aware of all of this. It wants to keep you in that, what I was talking about earlier. It's just unbelievably
Mm.
You know.
It's cunning and it's devious and it's destructive and it's all of those things. But when you see its game and you just stay in the awareness, it can't really hurt you. It's like, okay, whatever. Off you go, and it plays itself out, and you just observe the thoughts. Don't do anything, just observe them. Sit and watch it.
This is where I think there must be levels, like you said, because I was at this point of just observing everything and just enjoying it all, but obviously at a different time. But there is no time, is there? Apart from now, but yeah. And yet all of a sudden you got mixed up in all that chaos again for you to remember. And it's easy to forget or whatever, and then you're put back into that situation to see it, and then and
then you let it go again, and that's how it goes. Let it go again, reveal the truth. Ego tries again, let it go, reveal the truth. And so, that's the process of letting go. Ongoing letting go, ongoing revelation of truth. Ego tries again, and you let it go again. And eventually there's nothing to let go of because you've let it all go. And then you're free. Okay, so any thoughts or feelings on number 1?
Well, there must be a part that still believes in separation, because that's what the letting go is, isn't it?
Yeah. So you're letting go of a false belief. So Yeshua says, forgiveness or letting go is the only illusion that's going to undo all other illusions. It's still an illusion because you're believing in what's not true. It's not really there. But it's how you undo this false belief entirely, and then there are no more illusions. So the one illusion that dispenses with all other illusions. Okay, so moving on to number 2, just it's a little prayer. So you read that in the first person, Susie.
My source, let me perceive the identity of my true self instead of my mistakes. For I, who am your wholly aware extension, am sinless. I want to look upon our sinlessness for guilt claims that I am not your extension, and I would not forget you longer. And I would not forget you longer.
I want to look upon my innocence. I made this first person rather than second person because I think it's more powerful.
I've got to go now, but thank you very much for today. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye, Susie.
Not tomorrow.
What's today?
Saturday.
We're Friday. All right. See you Monday.
Yeah. It's Saturday.
But it's the weekend. Yeah.
Yes. Monday I might have a problem doing it, but I'll let you know on Monday morning.
No problem. See you when I see you. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so you want to read?
Let me stop
again.
Yeah. My source, let me perceive the identity of my true self instead of my mistakes. For I, who am your wholly aware extension, am innocent. I want to look upon my innocence, for guilt proclaims that I am not your extension, and I would not forget you longer. I'm lonely here, I long for the state of pure formless awareness where I am at home. Today I would return. My name is yours, and I acknowledge that I am your extension.
Say my identity. We'll change the name to identity, I think. Okay, so what is that?
Got to really kind of read that a few times.
Yeah, these are actually affirmations. It's a prayer, but you're claiming it really. You're saying it in the first person to claim it and say, this is what I am. And by verbalizing it or just thinking it in your mind, you claim this power for yourself, which is why these are powerful. So in these, we're now in part 2 of the workbook. It's just very short. It's a key idea and then 2 paragraphs, one of which is always a prayer or an affirmation, if you prefer. This is an affirmation. So just trying to get us, pointing us into the experience, all that I'm doing in the first part and all the theory and those long lessons, not necessary anymore. It's just point you directly into the experience with these 2 paragraphs and help you to experience this state of pure formless awareness. So speaking of which, if you'd like to do a meditation on it, I'll guide you through a little 20-minute meditation.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So just making yourself comfortable, sitting feet shoulder width apart, back straight, cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes, and start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, so breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clench the sphincter muscle, lock the energy in, draw the energy up the spine to your heart center, putting one hand on your heart, connect with your heart space. Draw the energy all the way up into the crown of your head, pausing at the top of the inhale, smile. Now just scan your mind and notice any thoughts, any emotions, any related sensations in the body that are going on. Breathe into those again. So you breathe in and create some spacious awareness, some light. Helps you just breathe in the light. As you're breathing in a beautiful golden and white light. Every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in the light. You breathe it in. And you feel the pure formless awareness of perfect love just coming in, and you need to be aware of any dark thoughts and emotions, any negative thoughts and emotions. Remind yourself that perfect love is my life. It's the source of your life. And so I have no life apart from its awareness. I have no life apart from its awareness. I am this awareness, in other words. And exhale on the truth of that. Exhaling out. Pull the stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And it all go into the nothingness that it really is. Feel the energy subside back down from the crown of your head, down the front channel of your body, coming to rest in your lower stomach and your groin. So you're blowing it all away like a black smoke out of your mouth. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And just rest here a few moments in the peace and the stillness. Nothing else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe nice, deep, slow, rhythmical breaths in and out through your nose. So the breath flowing into the nostrils, touch of the breath in the nose. The area just below your nose, between your nose and your upper lip. There's the very subtle sensations of the breath wherever you're breathing. And the exhale, just let it go. Sink into the peace, stillness. This lesson opens up to you. So again, perfect love is my life. I have no life apart from its awareness. Surrender into this peace and listen to these words. Just let the words guide you deeper and deeper to the peace along with your breaths and breathing. Deep, slow, rhythmical breaths in and out through your nose. Observe the sensations of the breath in the nose and in the area just below your nose, between your nose and your upper lip. And then listen to these words and allow the words just to open your mind a little more to guide you, heal you, protect you. The Holy Spirit's words can do. So, just breathing in and out quietly as you listen to these words from the Holy Spirit. Perfect love is my life. I have no life apart from its awareness. I have no life apart from its awareness. So this awareness is my life. I'm aware of it now, so I have life right now. I'm connecting with the very essence. So listen to these words and maybe repeat them to yourself. Then drop into the still, calm, quiet pool of your mind, like a pool on a windless day. Just the surface of the pool is so calm. Ideas have a ripple effect. Drop in and so peace after me. In mind, I was mistaken when I thought I lived apart from God, apart from pure formless awareness, perfect love. Separate entity that moved in isolation, unattached, housed within a body. Now I know my life is God's. I know that perfect love is my life. Now I know my life is God's all perfect loves. I have no other home. I do not exist apart from it. There's no thoughts that are not part of me. I only have those which come from it. Feel into these words, feel the peace, comfort, the deep protection. Come from this surety that you are, this awareness that is beyond all illusions, that cannot suffer, that cannot die, that is invulnerable, immortal. You have been this forever, and you are it now. So claim it now in your mind. Now listen to this prayer and again repeat it after me. Breathe in. Perhaps you can imagine you breathing in light, beautiful golden and white light into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, part of your mind, every fiber of your being. So my source, addressing this source of your true mind. Let me perceive the identity of my true self. Instead of my mistakes. I, who am your wholly aware extension, am innocent. Just breathe into that, breathe in the innocence. Original was sinless, so translated sinless to something that's positive, innocent. Breathe in this essence of the truth. I want to look upon my innocence. It proclaims that I'm not your extension. And I do not want to forget you longer. I am lonely here and long for the state of pure formless awareness, where I am at home. Today I would return. My identity is yours, and I acknowledge that I am your extension. So let those words just sink in to your mind, bringing you peace, comfort, rest. There are words that speak to your true self, Christ in you, your true identity that is one with its source, which is this pure formless awareness, perfect love. So just sink into feeling that this prayer evokes deep comfort and rest, deep peace, silence. Nowhere else to go, there's nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, be still for the next couple of minutes of deep, peaceful silence. Any thoughts arise, remind yourself that perfect love is my life. And I have no life apart from its awareness. And breathe out. Let go of clouds of doubt and fear and whatever other negativity the ego is sponsoring. You blow it all away and breathe in your breath. Going, gone. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air outwards. And sink inwards to the truth. This deep, restful presence. Power of perfect love itself. Which you're feeling, experiencing within you now. Rest in this power. Rest in this peace. For a few minutes of deep silence. So just gently coming back, some awareness of the body and the breath and the senses and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in. Noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. So flow of air in through the nostrils. Pausing at the top of the inhale, smile. Scan your mind, notice any thoughts, emotions, sensations going on, particularly anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricting in any way. And just let it go with your breath. Count to 2, exhale, blow it all away. Imagine it's like a cloud, dark cloud or black smoke leaving you. Notice how the air flows out of your mouth, chest and the stomach suck back in. Energy subsides back down the front channel of your body. Coming to rest in your low stomach and your groin. Feel the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Noticing what you're feeling and touching your hands. Smelling with your nose as you breathe in. There is a subtle taste in your mouth. Notice what you're hearing, surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things. It's very still, calm and surrendered state. Now on the count of 3, I'm going to open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around, observing the objects in the room around you in this very detached, calm, aware state. Looking at an object for a few seconds, observe it. Notice that the awareness that you had when your eyes were closed is still there. It's still very deeply peaceful. If you're not naming the object, or judging it, or labeling it, interpreting it in any way, then just a very peaceful experience. Then move on, look at something else. Notice that that awareness is still there. It's exactly the same awareness. So you're teaching your mind that this awareness is the truth. Who you really are. Truth beyond the illusion. Truth that you are the pure formless awareness, perfect love, and nothing else is true. That perfect love is your life, and you have no life apart from its awareness. So carry this truth with you for the rest of the afternoon and evening, and on into the bank holiday weekend ahead. And practice today's lesson to help you reconnect with that truth. If you find yourself getting disconnected every hour using either the short instructions I've given you in the text message or email, or there's a 6-minute breath break you can listen to just reconnect and immerse yourself in this awareness again. So that brings us to the end of the meditation. So Susie, I don't know what your timing's like. I've still got another hour. We could go on and do some text for today. Or do you need to go?
No, I don't mind. I don't mind. I just want to say before we continue, just thank you so much, because obviously I shared quite a bit before we started, so much chaos going off, but within the time of this session, all my households come back, all 3 of them. The house is bought, the kids have been in, out, they're doing the stuff, washing machines on, the Hoover's on, and it's just perfect the way it is, you know. I've continued with the meditation, we've done it all, and this is it. This is all in this awareness. It's so, you know, just seeing that, you know, that last sentence, perfect love is my life. I have no life apart from its awareness. And it's such a different chaos than this morning, but it's just how it's meant to be. I just want to say thank you so much, because I mean, you just finished on a notice saying Bank Holiday Monday. I didn't even know it was Bank Holiday Monday, but yes, thank you. It's just, and yeah, I'm happy to continue, but I think I've took so much today. It's still gelling, if that makes sense. But I've took so much from today. Yeah, perfect love is my life. I've not, you know, I started feeling unsafe, and I feel so safe. Thank you. I do. I feel so calm and at peace. And even, you know, I can hear the dog, I can hear what's going off. It's just
doesn't matter
so much. No, none of it matters. From the chaos and just thinking that song was ringing in my head just not so long ago, but that sweet freedom, so true. We've got it all. We are free now. It's just what I'm trying to say to you, Jono, but thank you so much, because yeah, it's all in this awareness of this calmness, peace. It's just here. Brilliant.
Well, I'm glad I brought you help to bring you some peace and freedom, because that's the only thing we had to do, really.
It was always here. It's that pure awareness that you talk so, you're so enthusiastic about it. So, and it's true. It's just here. It's never anywhere else. It's just here. It's remembering. It's paying attention to it. It's just, it's beautiful. It is perfect love.
Yeah. Well, I've experienced it, so you know, it's beyond words. What can you say?
No, yeah, that's true.
It's just, you know, amazingly that there is this presence. That's our, you know, that's our hope. That's our salvation. That's our awakening to freedom from all pain and suffering and sickness and death.
I say all this, and yet I sense this. I've got a slight headache. I haven't got a headache really, but I'm just saying that if I'm thinking about the body, how tense it is, how it feels that when I'm not feeling safe, it's like your body is the subconscious. It's letting you know that something's not right, or again, it's just, it feels like I'm quite oblivious to all of this at the minute, but I'm just enjoying that pure awareness of what is. And like you said, there is no words to explain. There's no need to explain, if that makes sense. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. It goes beyond words, and it's a very wordy path. This, of course, the Miracle's got lots of words. The purpose of the words is to point you beyond words. As he says, maybe I'll just, I don't know if you've read this, but it's definitely worth reading the introduction to this part 2, which I've included in. I sent this to you earlier on the Telegram group. That's also available through clicking any of the links in the email. So he talks about words here. Maybe just read paragraph 1.
What the first bit there? Words will mean, yes. Words will mean little now. We use them only as guides on which we do not now depend. For now we seek direct experience of truth alone. The lessons that remain are merely introductions to the times in which we leave the world of pain and go to enter peace. Now we begin to reach the goal this course has set and find the end toward which our practicing was always geared. This definitely is a fast track though, because like I said, I only got the book November last year, December time. And then we started it in February, and then we met you, and definitely because it does throw everything open. It opens the core of what you believed, which was untrue. And it's like getting into that whole new idea of that's a lie, or it's not true, it's all been made up. It's a lot to take in, actually, now when you say that.
Yeah, there is a lot, and that's why it's daily practice. Just away at it, and you let the spirit guide you in the whole journey, and you will get through any difficulties and any obstacles you encounter. Know that it's inevitable. And so then read number 2. He's pointing us in part 2 of the workbook. It's much more about experience. So we've done a lot of the mind training in part 1. Undo, to really look at the ego and undo our belief in it. And now in part 2, it's just about experiencing this pure formless awareness of perfect love much more deeply and connecting with it.
Now we attempt to let the exercise be merely a beginning, for we wait in quiet expectation for our pure formless awareness of perfect love and source. It has promised it will take the final step itself, and we are sure its promises are kept. We have come far along the road, and now we wait for it. We will continue spending time with it each morning and at night, as long as it makes us happy. We will not consider time a matter of duration now. We use as much as we will need for the result that we desire. Nor will we forget our hourly remembrance in between, calling to pure formless awareness of perfect love when we have need of it, as we are tempted to forget our goal. It's all about awareness, isn't it? It's all that remembering about awareness.
So much more experiential. It's like a different phase, moving into a deep experience of truth, and just using these lessons as a starter point. So and that's why they're so short. It's just 2 paragraphs, one key idea, 2 paragraphs, and then he's saying use the words as a starting point to drop into the experience of it, so that more and more you experience it, and it's not intellectual, theoretical anymore. It's in your actual experience. And then he says, you want to read number 3?
We will continue with a central thought for all the days to come, and we will use that thought to introduce our times of rest and calm our minds at need. Yet we will not content ourselves with simple practicing in the remaining wholly aware moments which conclude the year that we have given pure formless awareness of perfect love. We say some simple words of welcome and expect our source to reveal itself as it has promised. We have called on it, and it has promised that its extension will not remain unanswered when its extension calls on its source.
Okay, any thoughts on that?
It does feel like the lessons coming up to this one has geared you for what it said. It's telling you point by point, isn't it, like you said?
Simple words of welcome. So you're welcoming this presence in and just asking this presence to reveal itself in this. It's meditation, really. We're going into deeper meditation, using the lesson as the starting point. And he's saying you will be answered. You know, your mind is ready and open. You will be answered, and this peaceful presence that you talked about, is there. It's always there for you, just waiting for your invitation to it. Yeah, so that's, I just wanted to, there's more. He goes on for another 7 paragraphs, but 8 paragraphs. But in fact, read this. Read number 4 as well.
Now do we come to this presence with only its message in our minds and hearts, and wait for it to take the step to us that it has told us through its voice. It would not fail to take when we invited it. It has not left its extension in all its madness, nor betrayed us, nor betrayed its trust in it. Has its faithfulness not earned it the invitation that it seeks to make us happy? We will offer it, and it will be accepted. So our times with our source will now be spent. We will offer it and will be accepted. So I think I need to read that again.
Okay.
Now do we come to this presence with only its message in our minds and hearts, and wait for it to take the step to us that it has told us through its voice. It would not fail to take when we invited it. It has not left its extension in all its madness, nor betrayed its trust in it. Has its faithfulness not earned it the invitation that it seeks to make us happy? We will offer it, and it will be accepted. So our times with our source will now be spent. We say the words of invitation that its voice suggests, and then we wait for it to come to us. Yeah, I think I'm trying to understand or process something. So it does feel like I need to keep reading that again and again.
It hasn't left you in all your madness. So when the ego is kicking off and it's all the chaos and confusion going on in your mind, it's still there. It's always there for you. And it's inviting you to merge with it, to join it, to make you happy. It just wants to bring you happiness and peace.
So when you said it's inviting us or something, we're calling upon it, or we're not calling upon it because it's always there. Or we have to initiate that, do we? Do we have to say I'm ready and waiting? Or because like you said, sometimes, oh God, I need help. But are we still paying attention to what it's trying to say to us, or are we just bypassing it or denying it?
Often, we've denied it. So that's what our minds are specialized in doing. And so we must now open our minds to it. This is what he's saying. So we're just inviting it by spending the time. So you do the spiritual practice,
Yeah.
practice these lessons. You're giving it the time and the space to now come into your awareness without distraction. That's why spiritual practice is important, because if your mind is busy, caught up in the world, and you're doing, you don't give it the space to come in and speak to you. And these feelings and these deep realizations can't come because your mind is otherwise occupied with the business of the world. And so, universally in all the spiritual traditions, they have these spiritual practices that are always usually meditative in nature. They often involve breath work, and it's about sitting quietly and just experiencing the stillness of this presence. And then the transformation starts to happen in the stillness. Ramana Maharshi, it's a great Indian sage. People would come to him and they say they want teaching. And he said, I have no teaching. He said, just sit with me and be still. The silence is the teacher. So, Yeshua is saying, well, I know your minds are so busy and chaotic. So he's given us a lot of mind training up to this point to try and undo some of that and just clear some space. And now he's saying in part 2 of the workbook, okay, well, let's just go into that space. Let's allow that spacious awareness to just be there and arise, and it will speak to you, and it will comfort you and heal you and give you guidance you need, and just be open to it. It's a much more sort of restful, gentle. We're not there's in these second part of the lesson, it's not specific mind training exercises like in the first part where he says, okay, let's work with your guilt today, or let's work with anger, or let's work with your separation thoughts towards another. He's just saying, just drop into the presence. All of these are pointers to the deeper presence of God, perfect love, and just start experiencing it. So it's really an invitation to deeper meditation. In the second part of the workbook, it's really a meditative practice that he's asking us to engage in. Okay, and then number 5.
Now is a time of prophecy fulfilled. Now are all ancient promises upheld and fully kept. No step remains for time to separate from its accomplishment. For now we cannot fail. Sit silently and wait upon your source. It has willed to come to you when you have recognized you want it to do so. And you could never have come this far unless you perceived, however dimly, that it is your will. Oh, exciting times.
It's a time of your awakenings, yeah. And this is what you really want. That's what he's saying. So your source wants to reveal itself to you, and you, as the seemingly separated mind, want the remembrance of love in you is awakening, and you want that too. And so there's a merging, bringing these apparently separate parts together.
Yeah.
That's the mystic union of the Father and the Son through the Holy Spirit, which is a remembrance of love, as one, and you become one again with that source.
So I'm just watching the dog. He's gone for a bath. He doesn't want a bath.
Isn't that happy?
He doesn't like the water. Bless him.
It's number 6. We may as well, I don't think we're going to have time to do the whole, there's 11 paragraphs of the text. So I think we just finish this, close this out, and then we'll close it out on just on the lesson and the preparatory stuff to the lesson.
I am so close to you. We cannot fail. We give these holy times to our source in gratitude to its presence that taught us how to leave the world of sorrow in exchange for its replacement given to us by it. We do not look backward now. We look ahead and fix our eyes upon the journey's end. This presence will accept these little gifts of thanks from us, as through the vision of our true self. We perceive a reality beyond the one we made and take that reality to be the full replacement of our own world.
Okay, so what's he saying there?
It's closer than what you think, and it is something that you've wanted and wished for all along. It's not, this isn't an illusion, is it? This is the truth.
You start to experience the truth, and then you perceive the truth everywhere. See that you're always swimming in it. It's like the fish in the ocean, but you weren't aware of it. Now you become aware of it. So this presence has always been there. I just wasn't aware of it. Which is why in the Zen tradition they say enlightenment is a joke. Because you realize it's always been there. I've been swimming in it and I just wasn't aware of it. It's been obscured. Okay, so number 7.
And now we wait in silence, unafraid and certain of its coming. We have sought to find our way by following the guide our source sent to us. We did not know the way, but it did not forget us. And we know that it will not forget us now. We ask only that its ancient promises that it wills to keep be kept. We are one with it in asking this. The source and its extension, whose pure formless awareness extended all that is, cannot fail in anything. In this certainty, we undertake these last few steps to it and rest in confidence upon its perfect love, which will not fail the extension who calls to it.
Okay, any thoughts or feelings about that?
Oh, stop running away from what is true. It's always been here. It's here for you now. And it's okay you forgot. Because it's always been here. Just waiting. Waiting patiently for you to be in that quiet space so it can just guide you. It can. It's really just love, isn't it? It just wants to love you the best way possible. And all you have to do is sit in that stillness, and yet we run away from it like nobody's business, don't we?
We resist it. So we prefer a separate self than the truth of who we are and that peace that it brings. It's just bizarre, really, but that's the ego. It's bizarre. Bizarre idea.
Wow.
Okay, number 8.
And so we start upon the final part of this one holy year, which we have spent together in the search for truth and pure formless awareness of perfect love. That is, it's perfect love. That is, it's one source. We have found the way it chose for us and made the choice to follow it as it would have us go. Its hand has held us up. Its thoughts have dispelled the limited awareness of our minds. Its love has called to us unceasingly since time began. Is that right? Unceasingly.
Unceasingly.
Unceasingly. And what?
Unceasingly, isn't that what you said?
Unceasingly.
That means it's never ceased. It's never
No.
since time began. It's always been there. It's because it's eternal presence, and we just denied it unceasingly. Ego's denied it for all of time, and now is the time of your awakening by your own choice. You choose to listen to this voice again. Which is the whole purpose of the universe. Your awakening is the purpose of the universe. That's why we're here, to wake up from the dream. It's quite profound, really, you think.
It is,
Well,
because we...
the purpose of the universe unfolding in real time in these sessions.
Yeah. And knowing that what you believed was untrue, and just to let it all go, just keep focusing here now. The awareness is with you. There's no... It doesn't hold anything back from you, yet you as the ego or the person or whatever you want to believe, but you just have to believe the presence is here, and it's all now. Wow.
Mm. Yeah, it is pretty wow, actually. So,
it is, because I found myself just saying to myself, I'm so sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. You just can't believe that that's what you've done to yourself. And I know it was because you were unaware, but this awareness has always been there, like trying to prod you, trying to guide you, and we've just dismissed it, just denied it. Wow. Wow.
So you're starting to see what the Course is saying. I mean, this is the essential message. It's so simple.
Yeah.
But you only really see it when the veil gets lifted off your own mind, and you go, oh wow, like I'm seeing that, I'm in that awareness now. I get it. This awareness is
You've
now
just
present.
had this whole, like you've said all along, and you're good at letting us know that the battle is only with yourself. It's with the ego mind. And you've just got to let that go and just think it's going to continue till whenever. You've just got to make that choice. You've got to decide and just say, look, I realise now, I do realise now that all I am is pure formless awareness of perfect love. And I'm choosing this. I chose it all along. That's why the fight was there for me to see that I'm the one who's fighting, nobody else. And I guess you get took down these experiences only for you to really see. And yeah, you think you're seeing it, but no, you're not seeing it. But you're really being made to see now that this is it. And you chose it regardless, whether it's for the experience or whatever. But you have the choice now. You've always had the choice. The choice is being made more and more for you to realize the truth. And it hurts a bit because you can't, like I said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, hence that Ho'oponopono prayer. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Because like you said, I mean,
please forgive me.
And it's weird because
I'm willing to let it go, really. I'm willing to let this go.
I wrote about that in my book, and then I'd actually done the course in 2018 or 2019, I think it was. Then I did emotional letting go. This is so you can see the only battle you've had is with yourself, and you've had it because of those experiences in your life that made you believe that you're a bad person. Because of those experiences, yet that true essence has always been there, guiding you to the best of its ability at where you are, you know? Wow. It is wow.
Yeah, well, spiritual awakening is the ultimate wow. It's like, okay, I'm actually seeing who I am, you know. So no, there's nothing more profound than that. Who who am I really? What is reality really? And that's revealing itself to you.
We had a wish. Yeah, we had a wish that pure formless awareness of perfect love would fail to have the extension whom it extended from itself. We had a wish that pure formless awareness of perfect love would fail to have the extension whom it extended from itself. We wanted pure formless awareness of perfect love to change itself and be what we would make of it. And we believed that our insane desires were the truth. Gosh, is that just not true? So true, isn't it? Now we are glad that this is all undone, and we no longer think illusions true. The memory of perfect love is shimmering across the wide horizons of our minds. A moment more, and it will rise again. A moment more, and we are pure formless awareness of perfect love's extensions, are safely home, where it would have us to be. That just chokes me, Johnny, because of what I said at the beginning. I don't feel safe. I said that, and look, it's...
Well, there's the answer, isn't it? You are safe.
I am safe.
I
am so awesomely safe, and oh gosh. Now, if you were here, I'd say to you, Johnny, stop me now. Tell me, is this what's happening? My voice feels all croaky, and I've got tears in my eyes. I'm like,
well, what's happening is a release. So you've let go of all of that egoic thought and emotion that was really arising strongly this morning, and it's just dropping into your home.
Do you know what? Do you know what's so weird of what's happened this morning? It's still happening, but in a different way. Because obviously, like I said, there's distractions all the time at the minute. I mean, hubby's come in, he's put the machine on, he's done what, and all that is distracting me. But I can still hear the truth. I can still see this truth. Do you know what I mean? It's just so profound.
Well, it's good practice, because you know you're going to have all of these things going on in your life, and that doesn't change. But what changes is your attitude towards it, and your perception of it changes. So you can stay rooted in the truth even while the washing machine's going off and dogs are barking and whatever chaos the ego's invented is going on, because you realize I'm safe at home in my true awareness still. Which is why this makes you invulnerable and invincible. You're like, well, it doesn't matter what's going on the level of form. I'm always safe at home.
So, you know, that number 2 there, we wanted pure formless awareness of perfect love to change itself and be what we wanted to make of it. So it means that, like, all that forgiveness we've been talking about, all the sins that we've committed, we wanted, oh gosh, I think, yeah.
We wanted to change it. We thought we had a better idea.
Yeah.
About ourselves and about reality. And this thought is delusional. It's totally false. But this thought has become the basis of our new reality, which is denied this pure formless awareness of perfect love, and has now installed another operating system, another thought system, another reality based on that thought system. And we're disconnected from our true awareness. And the spiritual journey is simply to wake up to that awareness you've disconnected from and choose it again. Not cover it over, not deny it anymore. Invite it in. Because you realize that's the only thing that's ever going to make you happy. It's the only thing it's ever going to work.
And then you think that we've been undoing so much just in this call, but then that number 5, the memory of perfect love, is shimmering across the wide horizon of our minds. Isn't that just a beautiful sentence? Because you're remembering that perfect love, and then you can see the shimmering of, like, whether it's gold or light across the, oh my gosh, you just wish that for everybody though, don't you? A moment more and it will rise.
What everyone wants.
Yeah, it's that ebb and flow, isn't it? That, oh gosh. Safely home.
Yeah, well, that's for you. I think that's why I got guided to get you to read this, because it was like, no, I don't think the text is right.
No.
Because I'm sure there's always messages and everything, but there's some profound, and you probably haven't read this, I imagine, because it's the introduction to part 2, which we only did a couple of days ago. So just kind of rounds out gives a context for these lessons for the next 4.5 months of spiritual practice. We've got another 140 odd days to go on the course, and so this is the tone for the rest of it, rest of the course, rest of the 1-year program.
Can you?
Okay.
Can you still hear me with that machine going off? It's like something's going to go off in my kitchen in a minute. Or can you not hear it?
I can kind of hear it, but not that.
That's okay.
The good thing about microphones is they don't pick up that much ambient noise.
Right.
So I can hear it in the background, but I can still hear your voice quite clearly.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Now is the need for practice almost done. In this final section, we will come to understand that we need only call to pure formless awareness of perfect love, and all temptations disappear. Instead of words, we need only feel its love. Instead of prayer, we need only call its name. Instead of judging, we need only be still and let all things be healed. We will accept the way perfect love's plan will end, as we received the way it started. Now it is complete. This year has brought us to eternity.
So he's saying nothing else you need to do. Just be quiet, be still, and let this presence arise. You need only be still, let all things be healed. Which is pretty simple. It's not a big ask. You'd only be still, but you'll notice that the ego isn't anything but still. So it's trying to get you out of that stillness. You're all enturbulated and very unstill. Because the stillness.
I get what you mean by when you say it's really kind of easy, but we've really made it difficult. Because if that's all you have to do, yet we've made it difficult by what we believe or made up to be true. Wow. Yeah. If only we were still, instead of busy, distracted.
Well, you can be. That's why you do the spiritual practice. Twice a day, you do the longer periods you recommend in lesson, and then in between, top yourself up. Even if it's 30 seconds or a minute of stillness, that's connecting you with the stillness and the present.
Yeah.
And reminding you. So you interrupt the ego pattern frequently. That's what he's trying to get you to do, and go into the stillness. Even if it's just for a short while, it's effective at interrupting. You've got to interrupt that crazy thought thought pattern, monkey mind. You've got to interrupt that, and you know, these practice periods or meditation or breath breaks, depending on how long you do them for, the way to do it. A way. I mean, there's other ways, but pretty much every authentic spiritual path has some kind of meditative practice built into it, because it's what works. The stillness is what works to undo the ego. Okay, so
Okay.
last one.
Oh, number 11. One further use for words we still retain from time to time. Instructions on a theme of special relevance will intersperse our daily lessons in the periods of wordless, deep experience which should come afterwards. These special thoughts should be reviewed each day, with each one of them to be continued till the next is given you. They should be read slowly and thought about a little while preceding one of the holy and blessed instances in the day. We give the first of these instructions now.
Yeah, so he's talking about these inserts, I call them. Workbook insert 1. What is forgiveness? So we just done that. So you do, ideas do this for the next 10 lessons. Well, we're now on 223. So until lesson 230, you do it. You read it before you read the lesson. So just reinforce, okay, what is forgiveness? You know, key concept. So do that. That's the mind training, and then go into the lesson, which is just experiencing the peace of God through the lesson. So there's still some mind training he's slipping in here. This is the kind of mind training at the beginning. Do it over and over. Do it 10 times, and then use the lesson to go into this wordless, deep experience of presence of God. And the ego has no chance.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, thank you, Susie. I think that's let's call it a day there, because if we go into the text, I've got to go in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's okay. But thank you for allowing me to read, because I obviously needed it today. I really did need to see what was in front of me, and to, I guess, we process it differently. Like you said, when we're on a live call and we see things and get to read the sessions and share it. So yeah. Thank you so much.
I'd really encourage you to do more of the calls. I think it'll help you.
Yeah.
See if you can make 2 or 3 days in the week where you can do it.
To be fair, I do listen to, if I've not managed to get on, I listen to it before I go to bed, to be fair. But I know what you're saying. I do listen to it.
You wouldn't have got the same, if you hadn't been on this call, the call would have been different. You wouldn't have got the same level of interaction and shift, because you can't, speak your own stuff. And, the sharing at the beginning is like an offloading. It's like a releasing. It's a cathartic process. And that's not recorded. And then we go into processing it. And so the whole call becomes a transformational session for you. A healing session, and then you feel, well, 4 hours later, very different from state you're in when you joined it. And the recording, the recording, make no mistake, it's great you listen to them, but it's never going to have the same power, because it's not interactive. And it's not working with your personal issues. It's just a recording that you're listening to of someone else's experience, or the teaching. I
always believe what you need to hear or see comes in front of you anyway. I'm a big you know, because I don't understand everything that you're saying all the time, or anybody else, even when I'm doing the, you know, listening in or whatever. But I know I'll always take in what I need to take in. And maybe this is for now, and maybe another time it's something else. So I just kind of do tend to go with it that way. But I do appreciate everything you're saying. And yeah, I totally get it, getting on live and having this kind of interaction, because it's profound. Today was profound once again, because reading it, and especially I think that's the whole thing for me. I think to get sleep on it now and just see how I wake up, because today, and then following on with this, it's just mind blowing, really, because it's just, it's that synchronicity that you talk about, isn't it?
Yeah, and you've just gone through a little miniature version of the hero's journey in a day. So
Yeah.
you look at this can happen in one day. You know, you have difficulty, you have challenges and temptations, then you get some help, you go through a kind of an abyss, a letting go, come out the other side, you feel transformed, you feel released, there's greater sense of at-one-ment, and then you return to your normal world again, having done 4 hours of,
oh, I don't want to go shopping. Oh no, don't send me back there, no.
Well, you don't need to fear it, because you'll just be like,
I know.
Yeah, I'm not saved, you know. You can do all of the stuff that you need to do on the level of form and still have this presence with you. You know, God is with you wherever you go. His presence is with you. And so you can do it in calm and peace, actually feel quite joyful. And that's the essence of the flow state. That you're doing life, you know, you actually can be very effective in this world, but you don't really believe in it. You're just in the moment, flowing, allowing the presence to flow through you and guide you and direct you, and it feels very peaceful and very, very joyful. And so that, you know, that's the art of it, is just to stay rooted in the presence that you can connect with in these sessions and spiritual practice, and then carry it with you the rest of your life. And that's the hero's journey. Okay then, so thank you again.
Well,
I'm not
thank
sure
you.
on Monday. I don't have an office space to run it in, so I'm suspecting that we won't do a session on Monday. But everything's closing on Monday because of the Queen's funeral. So yeah, join us again on Tuesday.
I will do.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Jono.
Have a lovely bank holiday weekend.
Yes, I will. And you. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye for now. Namaste.